Well, it is my delight. As you know, I have guests in the studio, and I am just absolutely thrilled to introduce you to two gentlemen who are here to talk about an art and culture program at the airport called Art at the Airport. Jeffrey Lee, the Public Relations Manager at St. Louis Lambert International. Good morning, Jeffrey.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you are so welcome. It's great to have you here. And then we are going to also be chatting with Doug Auer. I believe you've been here before, haven't you?
Actually, Kathy, I haven't been here.
Oh, okay.
But maybe my co-founder, Jim McKelvey, was here.
It was Jim. It was
Yeah.
Jim who interviewed
Yeah.
with Jim Doyle.
Correct.
And Doug Auer is with Third Degree Glass Factory.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Well, it's wonderful to have both of you here. You know, we think about the airport, we think about travel, and people are, you know, generally in hectic situations or maybe time pressure and that kind of thing. And of course, for years, we've known that Lindbergh's personal monocoop has been hanging there by the escalator and everything else, but you have added a whole new dimension to this, and it's just really thrilling. So tell us about this, Jeff.
Well, if you haven't traveled in probably the last 5 or 6 years, you probably don't realize the transformation that we've had at the airport, and we've done it through art. And certainly you mentioned the Lindbergh plane. That's a great cultural item that has been hanging there for many years. But previous to that, we had the 1990 mural Black Americans in Flight. Yeah. And after that, we really had nothing to showcase our culture, our region, our artists, and our arts organizations until about 2011. And we started the Lambert Art and Culture Program to do just that, to highlight the best talent that we have in our region through art and culture. And since then, we probably have 15 to 16 different permanent and temporary exhibition locations throughout the airport to address just what you mentioned, to be a distraction for all the hurriedness of travel, the stress of travel, but also to put out that welcome mat for all our travelers and visitors. 14 million people come through the airport, and we want to give them a showcase about what our region is about, and also to make our airport different than any other airport. We do it through art.
And what a wonderful way to do it, because we have such a rich history of the arts here, and we also have such a rich history of aviation as well.
Correct, yeah.
But it's just, you know, we're known as the city of flight and all, and of course, I won't go in that direction, but it really is wonderful to be able to marry our cultural artists, you know, and that flavor of St. Louis with this, not only for our visitors, but also for those of us who live here who might not even realize. There are all sorts of things that you've been doing here. Can you mention a few of the displays and the growth of this program over the years?
Right. The Lambert Art and Culture Program really is about putting exhibitions and permanent pieces throughout the airport, and you can find it throughout the airport, whether you're just dropping off passengers in Terminal 1 or Terminal 2, or if you have a ticket and you're going to Concourse A, Concourse C, or the E gates for Southwest Airlines. And right now, we do have an exhibition by Third Degree called Ticket to Candyville, and that's related to our art event, and Doug will probably talk about that.
Yes.
But if you just had not been in Terminal 2 in the last year, we have Spectroplexus, which is a 100-foot aerial sculpture. Is a collaboration with the Washington University Sam Fox School graduate architectural students in this last semester. And in about 4 months, they did research, and they created technology and actually produced this sculpture that was hung in mid-June, and it'll be up for 18 months. It's fabulous.
It is. I saw it online. I haven't seen it in person yet, so I got to get down there.
It's great. But we're also featuring the works of the Schmidt Art Center at Southwest Illinois College, at our Lambert Gallery, which is in Terminal 1 by Concourse C. We have a couple exhibitions by Gallery 210 and Workplay in the E-Gates. And Michael Hoffman and his Confluence work is at basically the beginning of the A checkpoint. And we have St. Louis by Seavers, which is ending its run by the Missouri History Museum in the Terminal 2 baggage claim. It's been up for 18 months. And that is photos from mid-20th century St. Louis and panoramics, and that's been up. It's been a great transformation of the baggage claim. So we're really trying to hit on all notes. And, you know, here this fall, we'll probably have a changeover of about 8 exhibit locations. So maybe we can share some of those artists that are about to appear here at the airport.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, it's interesting. A couple of years ago, you had there in the baggage claim area, you had a display with the St. Louis Children's Choirs, and that was a neat thing too, because it gave them more exposure, and you know, all those sorts of things just enhance that experience. Really do.
We're really trying to be a conduit for our community, for our region through the airport, because as such, I mean, whether you live in the west side or across the river, north or south, there's only one airport, and so we really want to extend our welcome to our visitors, but also be an outreach point for a lot of our organizations, and this art program is really allowing us to do that.
What has been the response of both visitors and local people?
I think it's been tremendous. We've had a slow buildup of our exhibition locations, but I think the response really is from our artists and our organizations. We've partnered with, like we're doing now with Third Degree. We've had exhibitions with partnerships with the Contemporary Art Museum, the St. Louis Art Museum, and many other fine institutions. Craft Alliance have been a great partner, the World Chess Hall of Fame. So it's been fabulous, and I think our assessment of it is their assessment of being in the airport. Because truly, I think people come to the airport may not be art enthusiasts or cultural enthusiasts, if you will. And so they're coming to the airport to travel, and they may never get to some of these organizations or institutions, and yet here they're got a ticket to go to Chicago or south of Florida, and yet they get to experience maybe an exhibition that they might not otherwise go to here in town. And then maybe the next time they will go to that institution or that exhibit to the Laumeier or what may be. So I think that's the real benefit locally.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I love the fact, too, that you're incorporating both the learning institutions, you know, the universities and all, along with commercial enterprises, which brings us to you, Doug.
Yeah, I guess it does.
And tell us about this, about Third Degree and what all is going on there.
Sure. Well, you know, as Jeff said about being a conduit for the community, I would say that that's sort of how we started as well. And believe it or not, that was 15 years ago.
Holy cow.
The Third Degree was founded by myself and Jim McKelvey. And at that time, you know, our intention was, to be honest, very simple. It was, we both wanted a place to make glass, and we wanted to be able to do so without having to pay the bills ourselves. So we started teaching classes, and the function of those classes was pretty basic as well, and that was to create more glass artists so that there was a community of glass artists here in St. Louis that we could work with, but also just have as a team, as a group of people that work together. So here we are 15 years later, and this is a great example of the success of that, because the 4 artists that are at the Art of Travel this year are actually, I'm not one of them, so, and that was intentional. When they came to us, I said, oh, this is a great idea. Jim and I are probably not the best choice for the artists, so we immediately funneled the effort over to all of the artists that work at Third Degree, which we have over 24 right now.
My gracious, I had no idea.
Yeah, so the Jeff and the team had to select and jury in the 4 people that they selected.
And what sorts of pieces are on display?
Well, it's a wide range, I would say, but the theme is candy. So bright colors, candy. Some of them actually look like candy. So some of the pieces are candy, like giant lollipops, for example. But they're just beautiful, transparent glass, all shapes and sizes. Lots of them.
Lots and lots.
I haven't seen a lot of them. They've been in production, and the artists make them and kind of pack them up and get them ready for the big exhibit. So.
But they do have a side exhibit in our Terminal 1 ticketing lounge in a couple cases, and we're talking about Mike Moran, Will Haynes, Dan Alexander, and Jeremy Lampy, that of some of their previous work. To really showcase what they've done, and maybe you can talk to that. I think you probably have seen some of those works, yeah.
Oh, sure, yeah. All of them produced a series of work, samples, if you will, for the jurying process, and then this sort of preview exhibit that Jeff just mentioned. To be honest with you, I didn't even see all of those pieces go out. I think Meredith and Angie had packed them all up and taken them out. But
in the dark of the night, right?
It kind of is. I mean, everything Jeff mentioned about all these exhibits at the airport, I don't travel much. So I think I'm just going to take Metrolink out there and check all this stuff out so that I actually have a better idea of all of this stuff that's going on, because I'm fascinated to hear all this. I think I've flown once in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
And I wasn't paying attention. I was trying to get through the security line.
Yes, that happens.
Yeah.
You see, we have to have sort of like a terminal point.
That's right.
You
That's
know,
right.
where,
Yeah.
where it's where we're going to, just to see the exhibits, you see, and maybe a special parking or something. Because really, from what you're saying and from what I've seen online, I have not had the opportunity, due to a couple of reasons, to do much traveling by air in the last 5-6 years either. And it sounds like, it should be a destination point.
And we
just the
welcome
airport.
that. We certainly welcome that. Yeah.
That's fabulous, And
But the work that I mentioned of those 4 artists, what's amazing, and we're really talking about our event that's coming up, which is the Art of Travel. That's our event that helps us support
Yes.
the art that we just mentioned and the art that's going to come forward. And it's separate of anything we do at the airport. So it's solely funded by our event called the Art of Travel. We're now in our 7th year. And what's amazing as we sort of evolved with this event that's held right here at the airport in the B concourse, pre-security. You don't have to go through the checkpoint or anything. We'll let you in. But you're on what used to be the smallest concourse. And we have a celebration about the art program. And we raise money, but we do it through food and drink and live entertainment. And where this event has evolved is that we're not just having a silent auction. We're incorporating artists to make custom works that then will be sold at the event to go back to the program to support more art. And so these 4 artists at Third Degree have created over 100 pieces of glass works. We're talking candy cane sticks to bar glasses to tremendous vases. I got to go visit all 4 artists and get some pictures and video that people can see them working, and I was stunned at how they work. So the sales of these custom collection can only happen at the event on October 5th, which is the Art of Travel, helping the Lambert Art and Culture program. And so I haven't even seen all the pieces yet.
Right.
They are boxed up,
Yeah.
but they're going to make their debut at this event. And I can imagine we'll have 400 to 500 people there, our hope is, and that they'll all be snapped up and they'll have a one-time piece. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, once they have been auctioned off, are you going to have them on display at the airport as well, or not?
No, they actually
That'll
get
be
to
that
pack
one
them
time
up
only.
and they'll get
And
wrapped up
spirit
and
them
go
home.
home or on display at some home or residence or business here in the St. Louis area, we hope. Yeah.
And of course, when you have a glass display up, it occurred to me the last word you want to hear is "oops."
Well, yes, I guess that's true. People always joke about that. We have a lot of private events at our location at Third Degree, and we leave all of the glass out on the pedestals. The stuff is surprisingly durable and stable. We have stuff that literally will bounce off the ground. So, what's the floor like at the gala? Is it carpeted?
It's hard tile, but we'll
Hard
throw some
tile?
carpet down.
Oh, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
Even hard tile's fine. As long as concrete's about the only thing that's a real danger. Believe me, a lot of the stuff could actually take a hit. Not that we want that to happen.
No, I would think not. Now, at this gala, so it's going to be in Concourse B itself.
Correct, yeah.
And that evening, I know that the big question will be, is there special parking for this, or how do they do
You
that?
bet.
Okay.
You get free parking, and once you go there, all the ticket purchase price is $75. If you get 4 or more, it's even less, and everything's online at artoftravelstl.com. What's great about that website is then you can also see the collection of all our other works that are in display
Yes.
to show you what we do with the funding that we get through this one event. So $75 gets you free parking, a 3-hour event, great food, and we've also evolved into this tradition where our host food partner, HMS Host, brings in chefs from their other venues across the country, and they do a select themed menu to candy. And they've got candy hot pork, and it's a full meal. I mean, it's a deluxe menu, and I think you actually can read off some of that here, some of the menu. So you get food. You certainly get beverage drinks. We do have a silent auction as well, which is great because in the last 2 years we've gotten St. Louis Blues memorabilia, Cardinals tickets, Cardinals memorabilia. We have a raffle for 2 tickets on Funjet Vacations to go to any of their Caribbean charter market destinations. So if you want to go for a few dollars for a raffle, you may win a trip to go to one of these great, fabulous destinations. And to top it off, we have this candy theme, and we have sort of the candy glass. We have a live band from Sweetie and the Toothaches.
Oh, I love it. Sweetie and the Toothaches.
They describe themselves as a jump blues band, and we're excited to hear them. We've certainly seen them on video and YouTube. But
Now,
for
was
all your
this
listeners,
truly their name before they took this gig?
As far as we know, right?
we saw them and saw their name, and then we said we have to get them, and wanted to get them even before we heard their music because it just fits so well
love
to
it.
Ticket to Candyville.
That is a hoot. You were mentioning the menu. A couple of these things: candy cane beets, salt roasted snapper with cast iron sweet potato and braised greens garnished with togarashi spiced peanuts. Yay. Roasted whole hog. The whole hog. The red hot inspired burnt end tacos, pasta two ways, and dessert. A dreamy array of colorful candies and sweets. Decadent donuts from St. Louis's own Strange Donuts. All sorts of cool things there.
And I will tell you this: I'm leaking this out, but everybody will walk away with cotton candy as well at the end of the night.
Oh, the little memento.
Yeah.
Which
And-
probably won't get remembered long because it'll be devoured.
That's right. And Kathy, when you read the menu, it sounds even better than when I read the menu.
I'm a foodie. Now, if you get your tickets in advance, you have a significant savings on this, don't you?
That's right. You know, we take ticket sales up through noon that day, October 5th. It's a Thursday evening. It's $75. And then just because we have to plan and we have to do the menu, we have to get the right count, we'll take people at the last minute. It'll be $100. We want you to go online and get those tickets early, and there's usually a great rush for the tickets here in the last 2 to 3 weeks, which we're at now. Mm-hmm. It is a fabulous event, and what's great about it, too, is that you know, a lot of people think about the airport as just this stressful place, this busy place that we fly off everywhere, and we are trying to change the minds of people that this is a great cultural space. It's, you know, who thought about art at the airport? But also, the Concourse B is a rentable event space. Because of our success of having this event over the last few years, people have come up to us and said, can we rent this out? And we said, well, let's look into
why
it.
not?
And 2 years ago, we worked out the logistics on the backside of it and got a program to rent the Concourse B out. It's like 26,000 feet. We've had our first wedding there 2 years ago. We've had proms, we've had meetings, we've had trade shows, and our partner that's doing the food menu does all the food and catering and all the other stuff for whatever event you would like. And that's Concourse B. And so if you haven't been there, it's a great maybe come out to the Art of Travel, experience that, and then maybe book your next event for your corporate or your community organization.
Sounds like a great idea. And how wonderful that you are renting it out now. That's just got to, that's a good move. It really is. Especially with so many people interested in aviation here in this area.
Sure.
Now, because your event, when has your exhibit gone up, or when did it
The
go
preview
up?
exhibit?
Mm-hmm.
It's been...
It's been about a month or
Yeah,
so,
I was gonna say,
right?
yeah.
Have you had any feedback from that, Doug?
You know, I can't say I've had direct feedback from the customers. I can tell you that a couple of the artists did go check it out, and they thought it was, you know, it was really. They were, again, I think everyone is just as surprised about this whole exhibit and the art at the airport. A lot of these guys that made the work hadn't paid any attention to this either, and so the feedback I got was they were really impressed with this concept in general.
Yeah.
And just going out there and all of the people that get to see this work. You know, it's exciting.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, the particular exhibit location for the Ticket to Candyville, the preview that's really highlighting the work of the 4 artists that's not tied up to the event, is in Terminal 1 on the ticketing level, looking to the south, and it's right next to China, which was, the name is escaping me on the artist, but is a on loan from the Gateway Foundation. And it's in between, it's kind of our ticketing lounge where we have red leather couches, we have a water wall and a green wall, and it's really a great space where people, you know, congregate before they head off. And so it's, again, that diversion, like, hey, there's these 2 China guys at an angle, what's that? And then they come over there and then they say, oh, wait, we see this great glassworks in these 2 cases. So it's a really little oasis in the ticketing level of Terminal 1, and that's what we're trying to do, just an oasis of art and culture in various spots throughout the airport.
And what a wonderful offering, like I said, for the travelers who are oftentimes beleaguered, to say the least. And it's just great. Now, the gala is going to be October 5th, drum roll, October 5th, from 6 to 9 p.m., and it's in Terminal 1, Concourse B. This just sounds like so much fun. And online, you get your tickets at
artoftravelstl.com, and you've got a couple options to look at the current exhibitors, which we've been mentioning, and then also for the gala event itself, and you can right there buy your tickets online, and we hope to have a record crowd this year.
Absolutely. And if you want to cross-reference to Third Degree Glass Factory, what's that address again?
It's
Doug?
thirddegreeglassfactory.com.
And this has been an awful lot of fun. Now, I also noticed when I was online, I'm going to revert back to your website for a minute, Jeff, with artoftravelstl.com. There are also things that, for those of us who are St. Louisans, this is sort of an iconic thing. You have some of the copper that was salvaged from the roof, and it's been fashioned into jewelry. Tell us about this.
Well, that was our collaboration the last 2 years. For the previous Art of Travel, we took pieces, and I will say it was my brainchild to just grab a couple tiles of that copper roof that had been aged and patinaed for 50 to 60 years, and we turned it over to some metalsmiths for the last 2 Art of Travels. And I will tell you that we have a few of these pieces left that will find their way into some silent auction baskets this year. Ooh-hoo. So they won't be particularly for sale as a single lone item, but they will be in a couple of our silent auction baskets, which are going to be fabulous this year. We've gotten a record turnout there. So again, that's sort of this collaboration of reaching out to artists to do more work to then sell and then help support the art and a whole new round. Yeah. I do want to mention that this fall we're going to have exhibitions by the Laumeier Sculpture Park about the legacy of Ernest Trova. The Mercantile Library will have some of their photo collections up for a while.
Got a great collection.
Carol Carter, Photo Flood, Firecracker Press, Gloria Mills with Art Bay, and Jacqueline Lewis Harris and Yvonne Osei, all in various locations. My schedule is just beaming and overflowing with all the work. Plus, we are doing in a selection process, a jury kind of thing, to replace the Sievers by St. Louis exhibit in the Terminal 2 baggage claim. And we are going to pick 2 muralists to basically paint on or adhere art to the baggage carousel walls in Terminal 2 and bring life and color and whimsy, maybe.
Yay.
I haven't seen the work. I think next week I get a peek at it, and then we'll pick 2, and then before the holidays, that'll be up and new in the Terminal 2 baggage claim.
That just sounds great. Jeff, I'm really impressed with what you all have done. We're talking this morning with Jeffrey R. Lee, better known as Jeff, the Public Relations Manager at St. Louis Lambert International, and Doug Auer, the Third Degree Glass Factory. And one more time, just in case somebody didn't have a pencil when we were talking about it, give the website one more time for the October 5th event.
You can always search Art of Travel and then STL Airport, but it's artoftravelstl.com. And I do want to shout out to the Regional Arts Commission because they have been a supporter of us from the very beginning, and we get some grant funding to do some of our exhibits, and so they've been very supportive of us. But other than that grant, it's all through this event and the donations and the ticket sales and the corporate sponsors. It is sponsored by Spire. They are our presenting sponsor and been a huge foundational sponsor for the last 5 years.
Tremendous. Really want to thank you, and thank you for letting us all know what's going on at the airport. And I think there are probably other people like myself who are thinking, I'm just going to go down to the airport, just go down to the airport. And there's good food there too, so you can just make it a mission.
We welcome that, and we are changing. We want it to be a welcoming experience for the folks that visit, but also for all of our residents and citizens in the region.
Well, we sure do thank you. And blue skies to you. And to you too, Doug.
Thank you.
Thanks again for being here and telling us all about this. The Art of Travel, your ticket to Candyville. I love it. And you know something? We have an addendum to our interview today. We finished up and we said, oh, there's something else we wanted to talk about. So here we go.
Yeah, well, so I wanted to thank Jeff for what he did for the artists and for Third Degree. There's an amazing video that he put together of the artists actually producing some of the work. Yeah. It's on the Art of Travel STL website, and it's a really great way to see some of this made. As Kathy mentioned during the break there, she went and saw some Waterford glass being made, and watching glass making there's nothing like it. And if we could do it at the event, which was something that was asked, we would. But bringing flammable things into the airport is just not a good idea. So that isn't going to happen. But the artists will be there that night. So you will get a chance to mingle with the artists and talk about the work with them. And that's something that we really put a lot of emphasis on at Third Degree, is being in the presence of the artists that produce the work that you're purchasing.
And I will tell you, in meeting the artists and Mike Moran, Will Haynes, Dan Alexander, Jeremy Lampe, you don't have to prod them to get words out about making glass, right?
They love talking about
They love talking about what they do. And so we did the interview, and I sort of took some of my skills from being a former Channel 4 reporter and put them to work in doing this video, and they just went on and on about the creative juices that inspired them to do what they do, working together, how they were inspired to do the candy theme, and how it took them different places than they normally do. It's really great, and we try to encapsulate that in this 3-minute video that you can find at Art of Travel STL. When you click on about the glass collection, you can find it. But it's really great, and I was mesmerized behind the lens just watching them work and blow glass and roll glass and stretch glass and the furnaces and in and out, and they do this every day, and I think it's great for this community, and we're glad to have them on board.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
it sure is wonderful to have you here. And you know, Jeff, it occurs to me as you were talking about this, your enthusiasm for things cultural and things artistic is wonderful. And, you know, this being your brainchild and the idea of, you know, salvaging the copper and all the rest, bravo to you as well for doing this and facilitating this and making this happen, because it's really, really exceptional. I've been to a lot of terminals around the country, and this is very special.
Well, thank you very much.
Very special. Once again, my guests, Jeff Lee and also Doug Auer. Jeff is, of course, from the airport, and Doug Auer from Third Degree Glass. Thanks once again, gentlemen, for being here.
Thank you.
And I'm so glad we did a little addendum there. A little more music for us now. Barry's Out of Africa, Flying Over Africa with the London Symphony Orchestra and Richard Kaufman.